Hey, what's up, Crypto Army? I'm Travis, your crypto newbie, bringing you my experiences so you don't have to learn things the hard way. Just a reminder, I'm not a financial advisor. None of my content should be viewed as financial advice. If you like what my content offers, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like the video, and turn on notifications so you get notified when I publish new content. It really helps the channel grow and get the content to others that might like it. So I don't normally like to do 2 fundamental analyses in one day because they take a lot of time. It's a lot of work to do a fundamental analysis and do some due diligence and actually do some thorough research on a project. The first video I did today was Crypto Token. That one's done, and I'm going to move on to another exciting one. The first one today was the Crypto Token, which was a request by a subscriber, so I felt obligated to do that one first. But I'm really excited about this next one I'm going to talk about, which is Gallant Token. I alluded to doing more Binance Smart Chain tokens in the previous video, and I was really getting at was this one. So this is a Binance based token, and it's another gaming token. So I've done Star Atlas now, and I've done Clickeye, and it's a very different set of attributes for this particular token. It's only launching with 100 trillion tokens. It's a pretty cool concept for a game, and here's the kicker for this particular token. It only popped up on CoinMarketCap yesterday and CoinGecko today. So you're getting in at ground level. So if you like the fundamental analysis, and there's a lot going for this particular token, this might not be a bad one to get in on. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. You got to do your own research and make sure that this is something that is going to work for your situation. And I can't stress this enough. Never invest more than you're willing to lose. Just because the fundamental analysis shows that it's a good investment doesn't mean that it's necessarily not going to be a rug pull, or that there's not going to be some issue, or the game never launches, or any number of things can happen where you could lose all your money on these. So just keep that in mind, is never invest more than you're willing to lose. Now, I say that saying, I hope none of you ever lose any money. I only try to cover projects that either a subscriber requested, or B, it has potential to be a great investment and provide a profitable source of income or some sort of a return on investment that makes sense to invest in that token. Those are the tokens I try to cover on this channel. Now let's go ahead and jump into the Gallant Token fundamental analysis. So let's go ahead and take a look at their website. Now you're going to notice it's a pretty well designed website. I should add that this token's been out for a little longer. Now it just launched on CoinMarketCap and CoinGecko, but it's actually been out there since August. And I'll show you the graphs so you can kind of see that even though there's only around 3,000 holders of this particular token, since August till now in the last 2 days since CoinMarketCap and CoinGecko have launched, it's gone up significantly. So I don't know if it's necessarily the right time to buy, but with only 3,000 holders, if this token continues to increase holders at a rapid rate, price is going to continue to go up as well. So I really wanted to get this video out there, that way you can make an informed decision. Just try not to do FOMO, fear of missing out. Just because there's only 3,000 holders doesn't necessarily mean the price is going to go up significantly with holders. That's an assumption. It's not always 100% accurate, and sometimes the price does drop, and it can drop for a while. Make sure you base your decision to invest in this particular project entirely off of your analysis of whether you think it's a good investment or not. I tend to think it's a good one, but again, I'm not a financial advisor, and what I think is a good investment might not be what you're looking for as far as an investment. So now you can see, well-designed website. And I would expect that from a gaming token. I really do expect a lot from a gaming token, because games are expected to have high-quality graphics for the most part. Their thing is gaming and NFTs, and if we took a look here, we can see that their team is fully doxed, and our goal is to create medieval inspired games and NFTs that integrate blockchain technology across different platforms. So think multi-blockchain. We can click on both of these to go over there, but let's stay on the main page for right now. Now their liquidity is locked. They've had an audit, and I'll show you that here in a little bit. It's actually a pretty well done audit by a solid firm. And then we've got BNB and Marketing Developing Wallet. And as you can see here, we're looking at a 13% fee for buying this one, 3% reflection back to the holder, 5% to the liquidity, and 5% to the Marketing Development Wallet. Now what's interesting in this case is the first version of the token contract, and again, yeah, first version. They're already on version 2 of the token contract, had an issue with liquidity. So they relaunched the token with the added security and addressing that liquidity. And then they added this 5% marketing and development wallet to make sure that they'd have enough money to push this game out and actually get it marketed correctly, as well as to ensure future development. 5% is a pretty healthy budget for marketing and development. So I would expect a lot out of this particular team moving forward, because that is a lot for, I mean, think about that. 5% is a pretty good return in order to propel this project forward. And games do cost a lot. There's a lot of overhead on game development. So I understand why you would have to have a high marketing and development wallet price for it. Now we can see they've got a white paper. You can look at their contract, and then they do have LP farming built in as well. And somebody's paying attention. LP farming YouTube tutorial. So if you've got any questions about what LP farming is, it's a tutorial right there that walks you through. How-to videos, right? How many times have I done a review on here and said, you got to explain this stuff to new people? Well, they're doing that. And that's a sign that they take this project seriously, because they want to make it as easy for you to understand their process as possible. Bonus points. I don't have a bonus points on my fundamental analysis, but that qualifies as bonus points. Now, token supply is interesting. Only 100 trillion tokens. Now, most of the projects we've been looking at on this channel have been in the vicinity of 100 quadrillion or 1 quadrillion, or I don't think I've done any of the 1 quintillion tokens yet, but 100 trillion is significantly lower than a quintillion or a quadrillion. So factor that into the consideration as well, especially when I show you the current price of this particular token and how many you can get for not a lot of money, especially when you consider some other quadrillion tokens and the price for getting into those projects. Let's keep going down. Now, they have a solid roadmap. They've already completed smart contract and the audit. And again, think back, we're now in October, and this thing's been around since August. So they have managed to complete quite a few things. White paper's pretty good. We're going to go through that. Their white paper is a little bit different. It's not an actual PDF that I can highlight through, so we'll navigate through the white paper. But most of the content from their white paper is also on their website, so we'll get through it pretty quick. But it's a pretty good white paper. I prefer PDFs because I like to highlight it, and then I can reference it later on down the road as well. So it's easier for me to keep track of. NFTs and a marketplace is still in work, and then their concept art and RPG cross-platform game. That's quarter 3. Want to look at quarter 4? Now, they've already knocked out some of the quarter 4 stuff, but I like their roadmap. It's a well-developed roadmap, and they've even got 22 to 2023. Now, they don't have a lot, but you can see they're looking at the cross-platform role-playing games and the beta testing forum, and then creating the partnership. So they've got a long-term plan for this game. Now, one argument I would have as far as a long-term plan, though, when you're talking a blockchain-based game, you really need to think long-term. Ideally, you're thinking 10 to 20 years out for your long-term. So where are you going to take this game that has a lot of money invested into it as a tokenomics-based game or a token-based game? Where are you going to take this project? Not just next year and the year after, but 2030. Where are we going? Where's the ultimate end of this game? Are we all going to sell our tokens in 2022 to get ready for 2023? And that's kind of where I'm going with that is, what is the long-term plan? Is it to expand more games? What are you going to build the ecosystem into? So that would be what I would expect to see is maybe a long-term for a game, because you really need to think long-term. A couple years for a game is not a long-term, especially when there's a ton of money invested into it for the tokens. Holder milestones is kind of interesting. And you can see they've hit the 2,500. We'll look at the numbers here in a little bit, but I'll say it's like 3,500. So they got a long way to go to get to 10,000. But now that they're launched on 2 major areas, CoinMarketCap and CoinGecko, they're going to get a lot of exposure because people track new listings. And most of the new listings are not great tokens to look at. This one caught my eye because it's a well-designed project. I don't know why they took so long to get it on CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap. Usually it's a quicker process to get it on those 2 areas, but it had me doing a little bit of extra research to try to figure it out, and that's where I saw that they had a problem back in August where they needed to fix the contract. So And then market cap. So they're looking for $50 million market cap. And it looks like they're about 5% of the way there. That's about right. That's roughly what I saw on their numbers earlier today. How to buy video. You can see why I'm fascinated by this project. It's like they've been watching my videos. The core values, we continue to live up to our name because of our core values of transparency, dedication, and integrity. And reading some of the articles from having to redo the token and come out with V2, I would agree. They seem to really stand behind their project. And they're fully doxed. So their reputations are tied to this project. They're invested in this project, probably both personally and financially. So they want to see it succeed, which means that you're more likely to get a return on your investment. I love it when a website does a frequently asked questions. Now, those are pretty specific, pretty basic frequently asked questions, but they do help to the initial investor. This helps sell their project on what makes us different and why should you invest in us. So I like it. And really, this is just a bunch of places where it's listed or you can access it, or Nomics is actually a pretty good one for looking a little bit further out. Obviously, since CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap just launched, you really can't look at what the price data has done over the last couple months. So Nomics is actually what we're going to look at as well. All right, let's head back up to the top. Now, this is a little bit different than the normal website. If I was doing any other kind of review, for the most part, we'd be done. That would have been the entire website. But no, they've got all the different tabs up here that we can explore as well. And we're not going to explore all of them. We'll just explore a couple of them because there's quite a bit of information on here. I highly encourage you to come take a look at their website. It's a well-designed website with a lot of great information. So probably one of the more important ones is gaming. So let's go ahead and take a look at gaming. So in 16 days, their first game will launch. So we should be able to see the first game at that time. Hopefully there's no delays or anything. But they do have a quick video we can watch here. So not a bad game. It's definitely not the Star Atlas that we were looking at on Solana. But you can see by some of the graphics, it looks like they've got a pretty good plan for this game long term to include a lot of good graphics in it as well. These might be scene videos, but I kind of look at it as it's not Kleekai, but it's not Star Atlas. So it's kind of somewhere in the middle of those two. But this is probably a little closer to the Kleekai game, where it's going to be something that you're just playing when you go to the doctor's office and that kind of stuff, where you're sitting in a long car ride. That's my guess, but we'll see where they have to take the game and go from there. But it looks like it's a playable game, and it looks like it should be fun for people to play. Now, NFTs, they don't have anything there yet. They've got media information, and really that's a good source if you want to go look at some of the articles that have been written about Gallant. I highly recommend you look at it. We're going to look at one specifically when we get to that point. So let's go ahead and jump into the audit. And you can see Solid Proof did their certificate of compliance. Now it's 25 pages long, so we're not going to look at every single thing that they cover in here. But let's just jump to the critical issues and the high issues. So no critical issues, no high issues, no medium issues, and 2 low issues, which means that it's a pretty solid audit. They had no real issues. Now again, this one doesn't have a score, but it only had 2 issues and they were both low issues. So we'll give them a 95 for our fundamental analysis worksheet. Again, I like having charts, and this time they give you 3 options: Dex Guru and Dex Tools and the PooCoin one. The buy now, they give you a couple different options. The most popular I would suggest is usually PancakeSwap. That's the one that I generally use through integration with Trust Wallet. Let's take a look at the team. So you can see, again, fully doxed. And you can go look them up on LinkedIn. I clicked on their profiles. They're there. I don't know much about them, but they do talk a little bit about their LinkedIns, what their backgrounds are as well. And that's what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for 90 people to be laid out there, although that definitely encourages me to believe that this is going to be a good team if everybody's willing to put their face up there. But I don't necessarily need that. I mean, 11zero's got that on their page, and I was really impressed by it. But I'm not necessarily looking for that. And one of the selling points for that particular project was a lot of them had PhDs, and they had their credentials right on their website there. It really sells that project. I don't necessarily need that, though. This is sufficient. This means to me that they stand behind their project. And some of their actions regarding the switch between V1 and V2 also tell me that they're behind this project. So this is good. This is all good information. They got the audit for the security, and they're doxxed. So if the token fails miserably, so does the reputation. And then they've got a store. So you can actually go buy merchandise already. I mean, that, granted, again, they're a little bit further along than a project I would look at in the same month that it launched. But just getting on CoinMarketCap and CoinGecko, it's going to get a lot of exposure being in those two places. So generally speaking, that causes the price to increase. Will it 2x? Will it 3? I don't know. I'm not going to do a prediction on where I think it'll end up. I have my suspicions on what's going to happen with this token. I think it'll be okay. Now, is it up high right now because of CoinMarketCap so that it's going to drop back down? That's the question that nobody can answer. Generally, things come down after they go up. That is their website, and it looks good. Now let's go ahead and jump into their white paper. Now their white paper is on their main page, so let's go ahead and navigate down to that. And you can see that it's a web-based white paper. So there's no way I could go through and highlight this, but I'll try to pull out some of the key points to summarize for you. Now there's most of the stuff from this first page is on their main website, so we'll just jump through. We've already looked at their contract audit. Now a KYC audit, or a Know Your Client audit, is interesting. So normally when you set up on a centralized exchange and try to get an account, there's a KYC process. You have to scan your ID card, provide your social security number, your date of birth, and pretty much a blood sample in order to get an account on a centralized exchange. Well, for tokens to go through a KYC, as far as like a development team or a CEO and their board, or however they structured their company, they do the same thing, but it's kind of like a background check to see, have they been tied to any rug pulls? Have they had any experiences in the token industry, especially negative type stuff? So when they go through a KYC audit, that's kind of what they go through, and they did, and they passed. That's something you don't see on a lot of projects. Now, that's probably something additional that Solid Proof provides to their customers, because not every auditing company has that option either. But it's impressive they did the extra step. It's not required. And as you've seen, I've never mentioned it on any of my previous. There have been other things I've looked at that have done this process. And I want to say it was a Solid Proof company as well, or a Solid Proof audit as well. But that's an extra step that's not always required. Let's go ahead and take a look at the utilities in the use cases. So as we can see, as a business, Gallant Token is more than simply a token on the blockchain. With a long-term plan for growth and expansion, Gallant offers not only an investment opportunity for holders, but real and tangible utility in the form of Gallant Studios, our game development arm, and Gallant Gaming, our online gaming presence. And then there's the NFT portion. Now, they don't really give a lot of information. There's a little bit of market analysis, so they understand the sector of NFT and what are the potentials. Really what they're talking about is very similar to what StarLS is trying to do. They don't say it though, but they're really looking at how to integrate NFTs into their games. But they don't really specify how or to what extent. So they're going to have to provide a little more information on exactly what this is going to look like and how it's going to be used. I don't know that you're going to be buying characters or objects in the game. It's not entirely clear what this is going to look like or how it's going to work. Hopefully they'll elaborate on that in future content that they release. Let's go ahead and look at the Gallant Studios. Now here's where we start to get some more finer details that weren't quite available in the roadmap. So here at Gallant, we plan to produce game titles on a regular basis, from simpler mobile NFT based games, essentially what we just looked at on the trailer, through to our long-term plan of releasing an MMORPH title. So that's what we're looking forward to down the road. And if we look at this, our first title is due release, which that's in 16 days. However, as a registered business, we will over time employ a growing team of dedicated and talented developers and designers to continue to bring our visions to life. So more games, an ecosystem of games as part of Gallant. Now, it'll be interesting to see if it's just going to be the one token or multiple tokens as we start seeing more games. I suspect one, because that's the only way that Gallant Token continues to increase, but we'll see. Maybe they'll be interchangeably used in the games. It'll be interesting to see how they plan to do this, but that explains that 5% fee that goes back to marketing and development as well, because it costs money to build games. Let's go ahead and look at the online community for gaming. So here's where we start getting into some interesting utility for this particular token. So the clan lies at the heart of this. It provides a safe, welcoming environment for adult players of all ages, backgrounds, and gaming interests, and has its home in separate dedicated Discord because we think separating work from play is a good thing. While the clan is open to anyone, Gallant Token holders specifically will gain preferential access to hosted community servers as well as early access to Gallant Studio titles, partner discounts, and other benefits. Most of all, you will make friends for life who are passionate about games as you are. So it's building out some of that use case for their token. Now, tokenomics we kind of already covered. There's a little bit more information inside of this section. We're not going to cover it for this specifically, but the liquidity is definitely interesting. And then it does talk about their initial launch and what they did with some of the tokens at the initial launch process. Let's jump to frequently asked questions because there's some interesting things in here that you wouldn't necessarily find. So what is the game development plan? Which some of this was on their roadmap, but not all of it. At the time of writing, the team has established 2 contracts that will allow the development of 2 games to be released within the next 60 days and a third by the end of the year. These will include play-to-earn crypto games and non-crypto games. The games will also be mixed to allow for App Store integration as well as WebGL for desktop users. Down the road, as development increases on the bigger games, we will have the consoles included. So they really do plan to build multiple games as part of this, which is really good information to have because we're talking 3 games already. Their initial roadmap, if I remember correctly, only had 2, unless I missed one. That's phenomenal. So they're building quite a utility around this particular token. Now, I can't show you the Lunar Crush score for this right now. It was a 55 earlier today when I looked at it, but when I try to access Gallant Lunar Crush, I get an error. And when I try to get past it, it takes me to a different token. So right now it's just not working. It'll take me to something else. Gallant is on Lunar Crush, but it won't let me go there for right now. So unfortunately I can't show you that score, but it was a 55. So I mentioned that this is version 2 of the token. So here's an article, and there's a couple of them, and if you go to the media pages, they put them on there. You can take a look at them. This one's actually a slightly different version of one of them that's on there. But as you can see, they relaunched with enhanced security features after being a SafeMoon fork. So the thing I want to draw your attention to here is they mentioned about the number of scams that are out there, because there's a lot of scams out there. But then it talks a little bit about what the team did. So initially, the Gallant Token team saved token holders from a shady project and took the risk and financial responsibility to airdrop them. They understand what it means to be scammed, thus the dev team is only creating an atmosphere where people feel safe, but also building a trusting relationship with their community using their drive for success and growth. The resilient team of professionals led by Stephen Walters, CEO of Gallant Token, had been doxxed not only on the web and vocally, putting their names and faces behind the brand and project, but also performing a successful KYC audit through a third party called Solid Proof. What's more, the contract in which trading is performed has undergone an extensive audit to show the integrity of its functionality. Since its inception, the doxxed team has made strategic partnerships with several crypto organizations. So again, the team stands behind their token. And those are the kinds of projects that I like looking for, is where the team is doxxed, they stand behind it, and they're enthusiastic about the project itself and trying to make it succeed. That's usually a recipe for success, and one of the key things I look for and why I look for that. All right, so now let's go ahead and take a look at the price for Gallant. So as you can see, it's on a significant rise. So might not be the best time to look at it. I didn't want to hold off just because of the number of holders and the potential that it could escalate pretty quick. And as you can see, it has been escalating pretty quick. And if we go back to August timeframe, you can see and now here's the downfall with using Nomics. As you can see here, we're looking around 8 zeros, 1 5, 1 4 at the very beginning, and it bounced up a little bit here and there. But as you can see, we're doing pretty good. That's a significant price increase. Anybody that bought back here probably sold out already, because that's a significant increase in price. It's a 70494, and it was a little bit higher, so we might finally start leveling off. Let's look at the 1 day. Nope, it's still going up pretty good. So it may not be the best time to buy in. It might be. It's hard to say because the holders are so low right now. So if we look at the number of holders, there's 3,781 addresses right now. So depending on when you're watching this, go check it out and see how many it's up to. But you can see it's a relatively new project. It's only got 8,000 transactions total. And if we go back, I'm not sure if we can get to all 8,000 transactions, but around 85 days ago. So yeah, we're still probably, that's 85 days. That's probably right around when the project launched. So it's still showing every transaction since launch because there's so few. That's pretty impressive. But if we look at some other data on the Nomics website here, you can see that we're under $1 million in volume, but it's up significantly. We're still ranked pretty low at 2819. Circulating supplies unknown. Well, this is definitely not uncommon for young tokens to have circulating supplies, total supplies not showing. All right, now that we've looked through everything, let's go ahead and fill out our fundamental analysis. And is the website visually appealing? Yes. I didn't see any spelling errors. I didn't see any grammar errors. I didn't see any website issues. Team was listed. No contact method listed. Security audit, yes. Price, yes. Market, yes. How to buy, yes. And how-to videos included. 95 on the score. Roadmap, no issues. White paper, no issues. But I did find some grammar issues, and there were more obvious grammar issues inside of their white paper. So I'd recommend that the team go take a look at their white paper more in depth. And some of them stood out. They were pretty obvious issues. Development team is known, yes. Professional team, yes. I did go look at their Twitter and their Discord, and they seem to have a professional team. Use case, token, yes. Blockchain, no. NFTs, currently no. Wallet, no. Exchange, no. Swap, no. Game, yes. Software, no. Country, no. Legal, no. Holder strength is 3781. Galaxy score was 55. They didn't have a lot of YouTube channels out there, but there was quite a bit of YouTube content out of there. Now there's a gap. There was more back in August, and then it kind of ticked off, and now there's been more recently, which kind of tracks with their release on CoinMarketCap and CoinGecko. They do have a Twitter feed, and they have Discord. Use case and their target audience is interesting. Multiple games, potentially, and right now we only know of one for sure. Games are challenge because they're kind of niche. They're not always, and this is part of the decision you have to make when you're deciding whether to buy this token, is how widespread do you think their games are going to be. Now they mentioned that it's going to be in the App Store. I assume it'll be in both the App Store and the Play Store, Android and iPhone. Generally we group those together as one store, but mean both. So I suspect it'll be on your phone for most of these games, as well as the ability to play them in your browser. How popular they'll go and how many people are going to take a look at it is hard to determine. The video games on your phone, I could see quite a few people playing that. Both people that are invested in the game and then also people that just want to play the game because it is in the Play Store. So it'll be interesting to see. But right now I put it at about a 15. If they hit different markets with their games, so if they branch off or diverge, try to hit different demographics, or potentially the game will increase, or the gaming ecosystem will increase the target audience as well. So we'll have to keep an eye on it and go. Based on the logo, I suspect they're going to stick in the medieval, but that doesn't mean they can't change it up as well to make it more appealing to other target audiences for video games. And based off that, you can see 368 out of 568, and it's a B. That's pretty good. They've got a lot going for it as far as the project. Now, what are some of the considerations? Like I mentioned, it's a game. While it's a broad target audience, it is very focused on gamers, right? So will it be successful? It's harder to gauge. I'm not a big gamer, so you may have to assess that for yourself on whether you think this is a game that potentially a lot of people are going to play. Are kids going to play it? Are adults going to play it? Who is going to want to play this type of a game? And that's what makes this particular project very interesting and also very difficult to determine whether you want to invest in it. Could the price skyrocket? Yeah, it could. Could the game flop? Yeah, it could. So games are always interesting. Now, Star Atlas, because of the graphic content and some of the things you can do in that game, I suspect that one's going to do well. That doesn't mean this one won't, just because it doesn't have the graphics of Star Atlas, and maybe the next game does. Maybe the first game, this is their first game into the system, they're dipping their toes in. They'll let this one be a success, bring in those revenues to put more money into more advanced games. Maybe that's their plan. That's what makes these very interesting, but also very exciting. Especially when it's got a 100 trillion token supply and a price the way that it is right now. So that price, and again, I shouldn't do math in public, but I think that price works out to be maybe after fees 17 billion tokens for $1,000. And I'm guessing. So do your math on what that turns out to be, but that's probably a good entry point for a game, especially with only 3,000 holders out there. So at this point, we've talked about 3 different games. Kleekai was the first one, and it was an Ethereum network game, so high gas fees with a focus on poverty. Then we've got Gallant, which is a Binance Smart Chain, which is a little bit faster currently, way cheaper on the fees. And then we've got Star Atlas, which is even cheaper on the fees, much, much faster blockchain with a much greater capacity for gaming. But it's also a much more sophisticated game. All of them seem like they're great options and geared at different segments. This one seems like a legit project. It's got a strong security analysis behind it, and it has a doxxed team that's already revised their token once to ensure security, as well as to fix some issues they had with it. Now, they didn't renounce ownership. I don't typically have a problem with not renouncing the ownership, but there is increased risk when you don't renounce ownership to the contract. Now, the benefits, in my opinion, justify not renouncing the ownership because it gives them the ability to go in there and fix the token if there's issues or make adjustments as necessary to make sure that the longevity of the token isn't compromised in some way based off of not being able to edit it. Now, there's been suggestion that they should renounce ownership to the community, and then every time they need to make a change, they put it to a community vote, and then they implement the changes. It's a good approach. It may not be the most timely approach when you need to make critical changes. In getting the community to get engaged, there's some problems with that approach. That's one way to get around renouncing the ownership or being able to renounce the ownership while still being able to do those updates. Hopefully you found this content helpful. If you like the content, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like the video, and turn on notifications so you get notified when I publish new content. It really does help the channel grow. Now let me know in the comments, is Gallant something you're interested in investing in? Or is there some other type of game that you guys are interested in? Or is there some other type of content that you'd be more interested in hearing about? Until next time, stay strong with those diamond hands. Crypto Newbie here to tell you how you can get $2,340 in free stocks. All the links I use in this video are in the description. Sign up for Webull and get 2 free stocks valued up to $2,300. Your first stock is free automatically. Deposit any amount and you get your second stock. Deposit 1 penny and you get your second stock. Total value could be up to $2,300. Generally $5 per stock is what you get. Next we have block fee. Get $10 in Bitcoin just for signing up. Read the fine print. I've got a rewards account. You'll get $40 in Bitcoin, as will I. So you know exactly what I'm going to get and what you're going to get. You do need to deposit $100 to get your $40 in Bitcoin. That's the overview how to get $2,340 just by signing up for accounts.